Good evening, this is Melissa with StocksWish.com, and I'm here tonight to talk to you about a gap today that didn't completely work correctly, and we're going to discuss why. This was low, L-O-W. This was a gap down today, and this is a heavily traded stock. I am sure a lot of people had this on their gap down list today, people that trade gaps. It came up this morning, and let's take a look at it. Here's the thing. I saw this morning, okay, and it was in this area, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I did not trade it. The reason I didn't like it was it was caught all up in here, and I also saw this. Did everybody see this here? 2531, 2528. This is a base, snug as a bug in a rug, on a 200 period moving average on the daily chart of this stock. Yes, it gapped down under a green bar. Yes, it gapped down under a support area. Yes, it's a gap down. Okay, but look at this area. Anything could have happened here, absolutely anything, because where this was gapping the area. Now, that being said, okay, you still can watch this if you want to in the morning to see how it acts when it opens. This could have opened and immediately crashed down to the ground, broke through all this and went zoop, and had a nice big move. If it opened there and went boom right down. That being said, it did not do that. Okay, it did not do that at all, and we'll go over what it did. But I was not crazy about it because of where it was opening and this. Okay. I had a problem with this. I wanted to open under this, and it didn't do it. Okay. Not only that, I watched this thing pre-market. I was watching this, I saw this, then I saw it had this big rally. This is pre-market. This isn't a reason necessarily not to continue watching something when it does this pre-market. However, look at where the lowest point was here, 25.25, 25.24. It's at the exact same area that it went down and bounced off of that I showed you in the daily chart. Look at this stuff. It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. This is why I'd like you to consider taking my gap class, because my system teaches you all this stuff. You are not going to be able to trade gaps correctly by looking at what happens in the last day before and the last 2 days. It's not enough information. The system that I had is complete because it takes into account many things that do have an effect on what's going on. You can't trade in a vacuum. Trade in a vacuum if you want to, but you're not going to be successful on a continuous basis. Some days you'll make money, some days you'll lose money, some days you'll break even, and in the end, what do you have? If you want to trade in its entirety, you need a complete system, and you need to look at everything that's going on, okay? So let's go back. I did not like this. I didn't like where it was opening. It could have opened, went down immediately like we talked about, went crashed right through all this, broke it, and gone. It didn't. It could have, it didn't. Now, if you play this today correctly, you could have made money. It was not one of the stocks that I'd say I would have 100% conviction in because of the way that it opened and traded. I also would never have taken the entry that it gave, which I'm going to go over, because I wouldn't have had 100% conviction in that it was going to have any decent size move in the day because of the way that it's set up, because of this whole thing on the chart, because of where it touched down in the morning, and this thing didn't even set up till very late, and I've learned, okay, that when these things set up late, and they should go in the morning, which this should have and it didn't, not to have great expectations of such things, meaning a huge target. Okay. So the only possible entry for this is right here. Can't short into this. Can't take this after that fails. Over the high of the day, over the high of the day, over the high of the day again. If you'd taken this, you would have gotten stopped out. If you'd taken this, you would have gotten stopped out. If you'd taken this, you would have been stopped out twice. Why would you have ever retaken it a third time? You would have been so upset. Okay, with 2 stop outs. And you're remember, it's up to you. If you want to give these things big stops in the morning, these gaps, be my guest. I do not suggest doing that. I do not do that myself. I play it really tight in the morning. I play it tight in the first 5 to 15 minutes of the day, and I play it tight in the first 30 minutes of the day. Because if something's going to work, it should go the first time, or if not, at the worst case, the second time. Something shouldn't take 3 times to go. Something's not right. If that happens, then it's really not wanting to go. It's having a hard time going, okay? I'm talking about the morning period, not later in the day. I'm talking about the morning period on a gap that really should work. Why is this having a hard time going? Look at the area. Look at the area that it chose to open at. This is tough, okay? This is a tough spot here. Okay? So the only possible entry for this was here. It was a 5-cent stop. I just don't see how you could have taken that trade with any decent size. You're going to move out of this and have conviction in it because of the way that it traded in the morning, the way that the gap opened up, the way that that chart was in the daily that I showed you. Now, if you did this and you said, I really think this is going to work, fine, and you took it, you did make money if you got in there. You did make money. It dropped down under the low of the day by 10 cents, and you could have gotten a nice 60, 65 cents drop out of it to be stuck with this thing, and especially if you took size in it. I just personally would not have had the conviction to do that. This gap didn't rate high for me for the reasons we discussed and several others, but the bottom line is this is the only decent entry in this thing right here. None of these other entries even make any sense because you got stopped out, and after 2 stop outs, you cannot jump into something. You can't take every sell setup that occurs in the world. Just like you can't take every buy setup that occurs in the world. You can't do that. That's how you're going to get chopped around. Okay? If you took this was your first entry, right here. And see, even look, this thing happened here, which it should have held to go down. And it didn't. It dinged up over here, and we tested this area again here. I was really having a hard time going. After this and after that, this happened again. It started to get going here. Started finally to get going here. And if you see, this is 1032. This is this 5-minute bar over here, where you see it actually really fully set up. Okay, so it was a 10-cent stop. Was a bigger stop here. The target has to be the low of the day. You really had to get out down here in this bar, because there's no guarantee you're going to get under here. This could have rallied up here. It did go under it by only 10 cents. And you know what? It just basically went down to $26. This is what it did. Look. There you go. It went under the low of the day and went down to $26. It was like $25.97. There it is right there. That was it. That was all it had to give. And then it went up. At 10 o'clock, I looked at this. This was solid green. This was solid green at 10 o'clock. I'm looking to short something on the day. I don't want to see a solid green bar at 10 o'clock to look to get in that. Sometimes these things go up in the first 15 minutes, okay, and you get a bar. Then they hold and come in. That's okay. 2 green 15-minute bars, I don't want to short into that, okay, without something really major going on to tell me that it's going to whip. And that something has to be here. That something has to be in the daily chart. For reasons for me to short into 2 green 15-minute bars in the first beginning half an hour of the day, I really need some reason on this daily chart to say that that thing is going to work, or give me a reason that it would do such a crazy thing when it should have worked right away. And this is not a reason here, okay? In fact, this is a reason to stay away from it and walk away. Yes, you could have made money if you played this correctly today with a 5-cent stop and gotten a 60, 65-cent move. Yes, you could have. And maybe you thought it was going to go under 26. However, that being said, you would have had to have conviction to take that entry I showed you on the 2-minute, or you got chopped around and stopped out twice before it even went. And you're better off some days just staying away from these things. If they don't set up the way that you want to, then just step back. Just sit and watch it. You don't have to take it. You can just sit and watch it for the day. Don't trade that day, and wait till tomorrow or the next day when something does set up the way that you want it to. You rate it, everything looks good, it opens, it acts right. It's like a song. This you're fighting with, and you're stressed out. And this kind of, when you get yourself caught in these things and you're taking them and you're getting stopped out and you're getting stopped out and you're getting stopped out, that's the kind of stuff that hurts your own confidence and your own conviction, not to mention your trading account. It hurts your confidence, and it's almost worse than the money. It's almost worse than losing the money and continually getting stopped out on retaking these things, is the effect that it has on your confidence and your ability to be able to see these gaps correctly and play them when they do set up. Because then you're worried and afraid and scared to take the first setup, or a failure of a first setup and take a second setup, which sometimes is okay, based on the gap. You're scared to do that because you get chopped up in a day like this, and you say, oh, I'm not doing that again. I'm only taking something once, or I can't take it the first time because I'm scared. I gotta wait, and then you miss it and it goes. Don't hurt your level of confidence and conviction in trading these plays and gaps in the beginning of the day by doing ones that don't work right. And the only way you're going to learn that is if you take my class. But the whole point is, give yourself a break some days and just watch stuff and see how it acts until you learn the correct thing to do in these and how to play them right. Because you're only going to hurt yourself. And the effect that it has on your confidence level is worse than your trading account some days. It's going to have an overall overriding effect that's going to carry itself into the next day and the next week of your trading if you don't have confidence in what you're doing. And a great play is going to pass you by if you don't have the guts to take it where you're supposed to take it because you did something silly on a day like today and this day. You can make money any day of the week. You could make 30, 50 cents doing anything. I mean, seriously, you could trade Apple or Google or Amazon and get a 50-cent move every single day. Your risk for that, or the type of entry you're going to have, could be crazy. But the whole point is not to try to get in something and make 50, 60 cents on a day. The whole point is to get in something that has momentum, that you have a good entry and a good price, that you're confident in and have conviction in. And again, this is going back to the whole completeness of the system. So there was no conviction for me in this position today. If it ended up working out solid red on the day, went up there, ding down, and then blew down here, down to that number that it was at, okay, say it just went down to that number, 25, 24, wherever it was. Say it had gone down there and ended up being solid red and dropped $1, then I just would have missed it. I just would have missed it. No big deal. I wouldn't have lost any money not playing it. I just would have missed it. I didn't think it was a great gap. It wasn't. If it ended up having a big move and I didn't trade it, so what? I just missed it that day. So allow yourself that. Okay? Some days you just won't get them and they'll end up working. There were reasons I didn't like this, though, like I explained, and they were justified. And as it turns out, it didn't work right. The stock still possibly may be lower, but right now, who knows? I mean, who really knows? What happened today was no indication of anything. So you just got to wait on this one. But for today, I hope you learned something about what happened in this thing today. And I hope that if you traded it, I hope that you made money. I sincerely do. And if you got stopped out a couple times or gave up on it or moved on, then maybe it was a lesson for you not to take these ones that just aren't perfect. And this was not perfect. It could have been perfect, maybe, if it had decided to open and immediately go down. But the fact is it didn't do it. And I kind of got that gut feeling in the morning when I saw the area touch down, bounce, came back up where it opened, and then how it acted in the first 5 minutes of the day. This is Melissa with thestockswoosh.com. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me at area code 602-799-5754. I am doing a gap class this weekend on August 25th and 26th, and I would love to have you there. If you're interested and want to sign up, please contact me. This stuff that I teach is important because remember, you need a whole system to make money trading. Part of it is the gap analysis. That's the basics. The strategy is the most important part. And you can't look at stuff in a vacuum. You can't just look at what happened in the last day or the last week and make a decision. You're doing yourself a disservice if you do that, because you're not looking at the complete picture of what's happening with the stock. And this is what you need to be looking at so that you can figure out what's going to happen today. What is the most likely outcome of this thing today, and what do I really want to see it do? And is it going to do it? And then if it doesn't do it, you don't trade it. And if it does it, you trade it. Anyway, have a good night, and I will talk to you later. Bye.